How to love an introvert. Here are some tips to get started. If you're in a relationship with an introvert, you may be struggling to understand your partner and their preferences. Especially if you're an extrovert and in the early stages of dating. To non-introverted people, those who are introverted can be perplexing. After all, introverts are polar opposites of extroverts. It is very easy to misinterpret their need for alone time as an indicator that they are just not that into you. To keep you from making false assumptions, it's important that you know what makes an introvert tick when it comes to dating relationships. Here's what you need to know if you're dating an introvert. What is introversion? Before you can fully understand what it means to date an introvert, you need to know what introversion is and what it isn't. In order not to drag too long on this video, you can learn and understand more from the previous published video on 8 signs you are an introvert. Key characteristics. When it comes to identifying introversion, it's important not to confuse shyness with introversion. Here are some key characteristics that introverted people often display. Number 1. Tend to be very observant and process things at a deep level. Number 2. Embrace solitude and crave time alone. Number 3. Prefer processing their thoughts internally, rather than by talking them out. Number 4. Choose to share personal information with only a select few. Number 5. Prefer writing, texting, and other forms of written communication over talking. Number 6. Display less demonstrative emotions than their extrovert counterparts. Number 7. Recharge their batteries by retreating and spending time alone. Number 8. Become exhausted and overstimulated by large groups of people. Number 9. Feel most alive and invigorated in quiet environments. Number 10. Have a small circle of close friends, rather than a large circle of friends. Number 11. Are great listeners and get to know people on a deep level. Number 12. Take extra time to understand ideas before moving on to new ones. Number 13. Desire meaningful interactions rather than small talk. Of course, if your partner is unsure, one way to learn more about one another is to take a personality test together or learn about your love languages. You could try taking the Myers-Briggs personality test, the Enneagram, or the Big Five. The key is that you both learn what you can about one another, so that you can be sensitive to how your partner operates, their preferences, and their needs in a relationship. Tips on successful dating. If you discover that you are dating an introvert, and you are an extrovert or an ambivert, or even if you also are an introvert, it can be helpful to know how to approach dating with an introvert. From selecting the ideal date options to giving them their space, dating an introvert doesn't have to be challenging if you know what your partner might prefer. Here are some tips to get you started. Number 1. Accept them. Too many times, people try to change the person they are dating, instead of accepting them for who they are. If you're dating an introvert, try not to judge who they are, or pressure them into being someone they are not. Instead, appreciate what your partner has to offer. Introverts provide the opportunity for their dating partner to slow down, reflect on things, and become more introspective. Likewise, if you're an extrovert, you can provide your partner with the opportunity to try new things and meet new people. In fact, many introverts do very extrovert things. They also like hanging out with people. The difference is that introvert will need time alone to recharge afterward, and an extrovert will not. Number 2. Be a safe person. Your introverted partner is more likely to open up and share their innermost thoughts when they not only feel that they will be listened to, but also that you are a safe person to share personal details with. If they feel like they have to constantly compete with you when it comes to talking, or if you do all the talking, they will simply listen and not share much. Make sure you are communicating in a way that they are valuable and important, by taking some of the focus off yourself and truly listening to what they have to say. With time, you may discover that your introverted partner is altruistic and thoughtful with a quirky sense of humor. Number 3. Make an authentic connection. Instead of focusing on doing all the right things in a relationship, like calling at the right time, texting consistently, and saying the right things, focus more on making a meaningful connection with your partner. In fact, most introverts desire thoughtful, interesting conversations about something of interest to them. If you're not sure what their interests are, ask them. Or if you would prefer, share your passions or your goals. Introverts want a mind-to-mind connection, where you share your inner world with them, including what makes you tick. You also could try asking your partner questions. Many introverts will share their thoughts and feelings in response to questions rather than volunteering information. So, be patient and ask your partner. Just be sure to actually listen to what they have to say, and avoid pressuring them if they are uncomfortable answering, or feel like they don't have an answer yet. By being genuinely interested in their thoughts, and providing them space to share, you're more likely to get deeper, more meaningful responses. Number 4. Pick appropriate dates. Knowing that your introverted partner prefers more intimate gatherings, or quiet evenings, make sure you choose your dates accordingly, especially in the beginning. For instance, instead of dragging your partner to a work happy hour event, where they will know no one, invite them to have coffee or dinner with you. Take them to a movie, go on a hike, or feed their intellectual side in some way. After dating for a while, your introverted partner will be more likely to attend parties with you. But in the beginning, you may want to suggest dates that won't be overwhelming or impersonal. After all, how much can you really get to know someone at a work happy hour when your attention will be divided anyway? Number 5. Look for compromises. Knowing that introverts get weary at big parties or events with lots of people, look for ways you can compromise in these situations. For instance, maybe you agree ahead of time how long you will stay, or perhaps you drive separately, so that your partner can leave early if they are feeling drained. Although you may prefer that they ride out the entire event with you, it is unfair to put those demands on your introverted partner. Besides, going and leaving early is better than not going at all. Keep the lines of communication open too, so that you can determine what works best for your relationship. Some couples agree that twice a month they will do something the extrovert enjoys, and twice a month they will do something the introvert enjoys. Meanwhile, other couples come up with a code word to use when they are at crowded events. This way, the introverted partner can signal to the other that they have reached their limit and they are ready to leave. Having this word allows them to bow out of the situation early, without making a scene or drawing a lot of attention to themselves. As long as you both work to respect one another's differences and preferences, you can have a healthy relationship despite being polar opposites. Number 6. Get comfortable with silence. Try not to take it personally if your introverted partner needs time to decompress and be alone. In fact, it's not uncommon for introverted dating partners to prefer not to spend every day together. This need for solitude is almost never about you personally, and more about their need to manage the amount of stimulation they have going on in their lives. Rest assured that, once they feel refreshed and revitalized, they will be open to spending more time together. It's also important to note that sometimes introverts would just rather keep things to themselves, especially if something is bothering them. Unlike extroverts who often process their feelings by talking about them, introverts prefer to process these things internally and make sense of how they are feeling and why before sharing it with another person. If you find that your partner does this, be patient and give them the space they need. Eventually, they will share what's on their mind. Number 7. Highlight your partner's strengths. Instead of focusing on what you don't understand about introversion, focus on what you admire about your partner's personality type. For instance, if you admire the fact that your partner is so comfortable being alone, without feeling lonely, point that out to them. Or, perhaps you like the fact that they are slow to speak, but when they do, they offer deep and insightful opinions. Make sure they know that. Too many times, people focus on the negatives, or the differences in their personality types, and lose sight of what attracted them to one another in the first place. Consequently, be sure you are regularly reminding your introverted partner what you love most about their personality. By nature, many introverts are loving, compassionate, and supportive. So, there's a good chance that they also see many things in you that they admire as well. Remember, introversion exists along a continuum. So, no two people are exactly the same, even two introverts won't be exactly the same. For this reason, you need to avoid developing an either-or view of your partner's introversion, because if you do, you will miss all the nuances that make your partner unique. Instead, establish good communication habits in your relationship. By continuing to discuss what you both want and need in the relationship, appreciating your differences, honoring your needs, and striving to compromise, you will experience a healthier and more successful dating relationship. Thank you for watching. Please click and subscribe and comment below.